All the info should be in the chat, or you can visit my channel. I have everything there you'll need. Chris. Although right now I'm not using the bot, I'm just playing manually, but still obviously some benefits to doing it this way too. Four socketed? Nope, three socketed. Actually, the Monarch will sell for a decent amount too. Oh, very nice. That's a great find. I've never actually found like the legendary self-repairing white 5 NATO with life or whatever helmets that they sell on JSP. I've never actually found one of those. They're extremely rare. I found lots of 5 NATOs, but never anything that had like extreme valuable. Life, mana, poison res, that's pretty good. Throw a resistance jewel in there with some life, or depending on what you need, I suppose. I'm assuming you all can hear me. Okay, cool. Can't actually do Act 5 yet because we're not high enough level. However, we can yoink that gold real quick.
The ink. Can I help you?
What the heck? Oh, help kill Andy. I thought that was a bail game. Oh, by the way, in case you guys didn't notice, chat is actually working. It wasn't. Till today. I don't actually know what druid I'm gonna make. I'm gonna do another build video, but I figured since I have builds on most of the other classes except for Amazon, I figured I'd do these two. I might crush an Amazon later, but for now, figured I'd do Assassin and Druid. So I'm just rushing. I'm getting up to par, or up to level rather. I am doing good. Thank you for asking. I hope you're doing good as well. Staying safe during these crazy times. Oh, you're very welcome. Glad you liked them. And I hope they were helpful, obviously they were. I know that when I first started trying to use Colbot and even further back, it was really difficult to understand everything, so I try to do my best to explain things in a way that makes sense. Never done that Amazon before. First live stream, I believe that is correct. I don't do a lot of live streams. So I think you're spot on. I try to make the videos as simple as possible, and that makes a lot of people angry sometimes where they want even more direction and even more information. But I've found that most of the time it's really hard for people to understand those, and therefore that's why I generally don't do them. It's not to say that I won't ever do them, it's just that it's harder to follow, especially non-English speaking people, and there's a ton of people that watch this channel that are non-English speaking, so I do try to help everybody as best I can. Wow. +2 to skills here, +2 to skills there. That's pretty interesting. Chat has been fixed as far as I know. Whoops, not paying attention. RIP. Get wrecked. Single-handedly taught me how to run Cobalt. Hey, that's fantastic. I'm really glad. Because that was my intention, is start from the very beginning and learn how to use it without ever having used it before. So if that worked out, I'm doing my job right. Yeah, it's there was a bunch of issues today. So I don't know if you guys were on earlier, but for like 2, 3, 4 hours, you couldn't create a game, you couldn't join a game. There was absolutely 0 games on US East for, like I said, a few hours, and then all of a sudden chat started working, and the issues with joining and creating games went away. So I'm not sure what they changed, but they finally got it fixed. Oh, you're welcome, man. I like helping people that aren't like bot farmers, because there's a lot of people, and these people that don't understand, people that use bots don't understand that not everybody has hundreds of hours to sink in this game. So bots are a fun thing to use if you have a lot of work or things that are getting in the way that don't allow you to play the game perhaps the way that you'd like to. They do need to get on the ball, but this is a really old game, and the chances of them doing that I think are pretty low. I think what they're going to do is the similar thing they did with Warcraft 3, which is probably ruin the game. We'll see. I really hope they don't go down that route, but I suspect that they might. I do have my hopes high that they won't, but there's no way to know. Pretty sure we're going to get a remaster, I just don't know when and what it's going to look like. They've been hinting at it, and it seems pretty likely. Let's see, Station Chaos-17. Last time I tried joining this pub, I kept getting in too late, and it was full, so I'm glad I got it a couple times now.
Hail to you, champion.
I have mixed feelings on them adding anything to the actual game for the remaster. If done correctly, they could easily do it in a very tasteful way. The problem is Blizzard lately hasn't been known for doing good things with old games. So I guess they're 50-50 if you want to look at it from the StarCraft perspective, because StarCraft got a pretty good remaster, at least from my viewpoint. I don't know how you guys feel about StarCraft, but I think it was a pretty good remaster. If they do Diablo 2 kind of like that, I wouldn't have a problem. But I don't think they'll add anything. It just seems unlikely. Plus, the source code for this game, I'm sure, has been long lost. I mean, of course, everybody wants a new act or a new class, but the likelihood of that, I just don't see it. Not the worst jewel. Jonathan, I have no idea. I'll be honest with you. I'm not really sure what the deal is with that. It might be related to the chat bug. You might want to try it again. Now that the chat bug has been fixed, it might have been that was actually causing it. It's hard to say. They may add or remove rune words. I'll be real with you guys. As much as I like Enigma, it kind of ruined the game. Controversial, I'm sure, but having teleport on every single character kind of ruined the game. Teleport was supposed to be sorceress because she's squishy, and she needs a way to get around that allows her to not get hit. Giving characters that have massive defense and full block is a little bit overpowered, I think. If they got rid of Enigma, I don't think I'd be against that. In terms of what could they create as a new rune word, I don't know. That I have no idea. I never really gave it much thought. It's really hard to make a new rune word without it just being completely and utterly broken. So hard to say. Sorry, I'm messing with something off screen for just a second. They need low-level rune words. Yeah, actually, that would be a fantastic idea. I like that a lot. Although this game's not really that hard to level up, but it would be nice. You know, it'd be really crazy is like level 10, level 5 rune words, and make those runes just insanely easy to find. It'd be an interesting concept. I don't know if that's something they'd be willing to do or not. I have no idea. Because then it wouldn't be super overpowered either. More than likely, anyway. But at least it would help with the level up process. Uh-oh. Woo! How to get wrecked in Diablo II 2020. Take notes, boys. That's how you do it. Got a little too close to that guy. Came over and showed me my mistakes. Yeah, I think low-level rune words is a fantastic idea just because nobody really plays low-level partially because of that. I mean, there's low-level dueling and things of that nature, but it would really help if there was some other things to add to it, I think. Sometimes you can find really good rare bows. That is definitely not one of them. Why didn't they identify those? Because they're garbage. Okay, got it. I clicked on that, it didn't even work. My latency, though. Saving up for my last wish. Yeah, that's no joke. Last wish is insanely expensive. It's a great weapon, but it is insanely expensive. I often get reminded why I don't play hardcore, and it's just the latency is just so bad. Sometimes I'll spike all the way up to like 900, and if you're playing hardcore, that's a real quick way to die. This game and its 90-day account ban, it's the worst thing ever. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I really don't like that. You know, they didn't used to do that. That's a fairly new thing. They really didn't do it past about 24 to 48 hours back in the day. I never had one that lasted longer than about 2 days. But now they can go up to months. I've even heard, can't confirm obviously, but I've heard up to 6 months, which is just, that's crazy. Still never made one, traded for one before. Yeah, for sure. Well, the thing is too is like if you're gonna spend that much on all those runes, then it's almost kind of one of those situations where you want a 15-3 base too, because it's so expensive that you don't really want to put it in a plain Jane 6-socketed phase blade either. Yeah, I hear you, Christian. It's happened to me multiple times. In fact, the other day I actually tried to log in with an official set of keys that I have sitting on my. What am I trying to say here? I'm drawing a blank. Sitting on my desk here in a jewel case. They're real CD keys that I've never shared with anybody. And every time, I just caught this, every time I log in with those CD keys, it bans me for like a week and a half, or 2 weeks, or something like that. And I have no idea why. Because as far as I know, I've never used them except for just a few times. And then when I tried to use it again recently, I can't use it anymore. It just auto bans me. So I don't know if that's something to do with it or what. I have no idea why they're doing that. But meanwhile, the keys that I had from a website that doesn't exist anymore from, 10 plus years ago work just fine, and they're probably stolen keys. For all I know, I have no idea where they came from. They're ancient, so old. They used to have huge lists of CD keys that people were sharing back in the day. Yeah, that's no joke. A 15.3 is very expensive. Even on JSP, if you look for one, it won't be cheap. To be fair, though, 15.3s are not super common. Okay. Glad you guys are watching me royally mess this up today. It's fantastic. I'm not even sure what hit me there. Five BO helm. Yeah, what's weird is I tend to find more NATOs than I do BO helms also. Well, I guess it just kind of depends, or at least it feels like that's what I'm getting. See, I believe that. I totally believe that because I never actually participated or knew how they were getting those keys, but I knew they were somehow collecting them and then making a database full of them because there's no way they just had like 10,000 CD keys for no reason whatsoever. Sorry, I let my cat out. Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate the $5. You rock. Yes, the chat bug was causing the issue. I spent hours trying to figure it out. You gave me the answer in 30 seconds. Thank you. Hey, no problem at all. I'm glad I could help. That's why I'm here for you guys. I try to do the best I can to provide as much info as I can on whatever it is that we're talking about. And I'll be real with you guys. There's a lot of things I just plain don't know. But I do the best that I can, and that's all I really can do. Does anyone know if you can gamble a PB or something equal to it? I'm not sure what you mean. Gambling would be... It wouldn't be socketed where you could make a last wish out of it, if that's what you're asking. It'd be magical, rare, unique. Blizzard also sells these sites CD keys at a super discounted price. You know, that really wouldn't surprise me, although I can't say that I can confirm that. But Blizzard is pretty shifty, and it's pretty obvious that they ban people, but they don't IP ban, which is really smart actually from a business perspective. Because if you don't IP ban people, they're going to come back and buy more keys eventually. Sooner or later, somebody's going to have to buy more keys. Rare Phase Blade, yes, you can get that by gambling. A rare Phase Blade, if that's what you're after, you can get that by gambling. But if you're looking for a Phase Blade for Last Wish, you'll need to do like Panfried said. You're going to have to go and find cows or even Chaos. You might be surprised. Chaos is pretty good for that. Doesn't always work out, obviously, but you can get lucky. Run a character that doesn't have a lot of magic find if you're looking for items like that, because when you have magic find, you have higher chances of finding magical items, and you're not looking for a magical item. So, in case you didn't know that, some people don't. So. Oh my god. A unique pole axe. I can't stand unique stuff just laying on the ground. I always have to snag it. Mine! My rare amulet. Yeah, the declone and the dupe Sojas is pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure there's a dupe method that's existed for a while. I've always suspected that there's private dupes going around. Oh yeah. It's hard to find a really good rare weapon. It's the reason why I actually really like Classic, is because Classic used nothing but rare weapons, really. I can't think of a single class that really didn't use a rare weapon of some kind. You know, expansion is all about rune words, but Classic was all about rares, because there was some insanely good ones, especially in 08 or 1.08 or earlier. There's just some broken stuff. No, get away. Do not want. '08 Valk, M Shanks, even '08 Arcane's Valor was a big deal because it was significantly better. '08 Windforce is still a big deal. That is incredibly rare now. Instead of dexterity and strength, it gave you all dexterity, I think. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was all dexterity. There's a bunch of '08 stuff. Constriction rings, white rings. I mean, I've been around forever. I've seen it all. Yeah, there was a bunch of belts and what are those weapons called? Ith weapons, I believe is what those are called. Those are broken. There's a bunch of stuff like that. Chaos Noose Amulet. Man, there's so many. It's a Shaco. Not a good one. I'll sell it. It's worth something. Amulet of the Whale. Do you know if any proxies still work? Probably not. The only kind of proxies that are going to work are... They're not going to be VPNs for the most part. Supposedly there is some in private hands that do work, but good luck with that. They're not going to be where somebody's going to share it with you. Somebody's not just going to openly tell you about those, so I'm not really sure. I'd have to look around for you. Yeah, I don't feel like selling these. Feeling lazy. Ding. Where is it? There it is. Should level up a lot faster now that we've got to 25. Oh yeah, of course. If I come across some more, I'll let you guys know. I'll most likely do a video about it. D2 Gamers was pretty shifty, and I wasn't sure if they were legit, so I had to do I did a virtual machine, I made a new PayPal account, I bought a prepaid card, I did all sorts of things so that I wouldn't get stolen from in case that place was not legit, but it does appear like it was legit. I haven't had any issues with it, and I haven't heard of anybody having any issues with it. So, other than, it's not working right now, obviously. Okay. Uh-oh. Was I doing sapphires? Doesn't look like it.
Not even death can save you from me.
No, he's gonna nuke me. I just know it. Hoo 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 hoo. That was close. The thing about the thing about expansion is people underestimate stuff like this. There are certain swords, if they roll correctly, that are worth thousands and thousands of forum gold. Far more than any in-game currency could ever pay you. And you'd be surprised. People don't realize that. There's a couple of magical items, like Jmod, Jeweler's Monarch of Deflecting. That's worth 300 or 400 forum gold. That's dozens and dozens of high runes. So, yeah. And at the beginning of ladder, it'd be way more than that. Just Chaos 538.
What do you need?
I don't even remember what the set word is. Ooh, he almost got me. It was really close. Ah, yes. Okay. Good defense, but garbage sockets. I don't actually play hardcore. I was talking about that earlier. The ping on US East is horrible for me. I think if I was going to try hardcore, I'd have to play on US West because I'm closer to that, but it's still iffy. I don't know why, but I can never get a stable connection in this game. And I'm sure it has something to do with their servers and perhaps maybe my internet. I'm not really 100% sure, but I just don't want to lose a character that I've played for hundreds of hours. You know, that's just, oh, that would really feel bad. And it has happened to me, so, and it has happened due to lag. That's the only reason I don't play hardcore, really. Plus, a lot of the builds and stuff that I like to do are kind of funky and weird, and they're not really that effective, but they're just fun for me to play because they're something different. And those definitely cannot be played in hardcore. I would, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll. I don't know if I'll ever go back to it. To be perfectly honest with you. If I was to go back, though, that's exactly where I would go back to. That's a great point. You know, having chicken turned on is a pretty good way to avoid it. It doesn't always work, but it is the best way to keep you alive. I hadn't really thought about that. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but that's a good point. I don't know. You're starting to bring me over. I might make a hardcore character, but I swear to if you can't speak. I swear to you, if I die after like 15, 16 hours of straight playing, I'm gonna be real mad. Oh, I appreciate that, man. That's a nice offer. Seriously, that's great. Thank you. It probably won't be anytime soon. I'll just be 100% legit with you. It's it's gonna have to be after a few more videos. I've got some more ideas. I tried to do the lime drop video, and for whatever reason, every single time I try to do it, I run into problems, issues, and I can't get it to work right. So I'm still working on that. And then I got a couple more build videos in the works that I need to finish up, including this character and an assassin. So probably it would probably be like a week or two, maybe 3, before I'd even think about it. You almost have to do 50%, maybe even 60 at you know when you're low level, just because it's so easy to get one-shotted. We used to troll people a lot in Classic. When we would, you know, make a town portal and then fire off a bunch of, what is that skill? Charge bolt. Shoot it at them and then go hostile on them, and they're still going right towards you, and it hits you and kills you. Yeah, we did that stupid crap. Does lime drop still work as a dropper? Last I checked, it does. This was probably about a week or two ago when I last tried it, but like I said, I couldn't get it to work, but I've heard other people say it works just fine for them. So, I don't know. Yeah, 50 to 60% makes perfect sense to me. You know, the biggest improvement for the remaster would just be to get the servers stable. That would be a huge improvement. If they changed nothing else and just got the servers completely stable, I'd be okay with just that. Obviously, an upscale and graphics retrofit and everything would be nice, but I would take a stable server over those.
Not even death can save you from me.
I don't know what that was, but I grabbed it. Oh, okay. Gloom's Trap, it's terrible. I mean, when you have nothing, it's not, but it's not the best. Yeah, it really is. The server instability is kind of the worst part about Diablo 2, if we're being honest. I love this game, but that just really makes me unhappy when I have to deal with that all the time. I have a question. How do you set up the IP top right hand corner? I don't see that. So what's happening is I'm using Colbot and it has that as a feature. If you use the D2 bot map entry point, if you're running the original game, it's not going to show that like that. Whoops. Why is my 9 not working? Something wrong with my 9 key. It's no bueno. Talking in game does work again, Master Zerg. We were just talking about it. Glooms isn't bad for a singer barb. Interesting. Oh, on Lime Drop. I thought he was talking about... Completely mistaken on that one. So basically you can host Lime Drop from a couple different places. You can use their web interface, or you can host it locally. That's essentially how that works. And then depending on which one you're using, you'd put in the appropriate IP address, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, I haven't messed with it too much, so I don't remember a lot of that stuff. But I'm pretty sure that's the point of it. Chat is still buggy on West. See, that's weird, because they completely fixed it on East. At least I think they did. It looks like it's working fine for me. So it might have been that East had it worse and they focused on that first. Or, let's be real, it's Blizzard's classic team. They just don't care. They had enough complaints for East, so they fixed it, but they either won't fix West or will take a long time to fix it. Who knows? Ah, thanks, Dirk. Appreciate it. I'm glad to help. Always. It was my intention. Nice, John. Yeah, for sure. Anytime you guys have ideas, or if you have like a build that you think would be fun to share, I would be more than happy to give you credit for it and share it with other people. You know, if you think it's good enough for others to actually use it and implement it, don't be shy. Message me, let me know one way or another in a comment or whatever, and I don't mind putting that out there, because you'd be surprised how many people want that type of information. There's a ton of people who would love that. On US East, the chat bug is gone. Apparently US West is still iffy. Yeah, West, it's weird because West has always been neglected, but wasn't Blizzard a West Coast company? You know, I always found that very odd. You'd think that because they were a West Coast company, they would they'd care more about West, but they always neglected West. You're 100% right. I played on West for, oh geez, easily 15 years, and then I switched to East because the player base was on East. For the most part, it still is. What's the shortcut to turn on or off the num teleport functions? That's a great question that I don't have an answer for. I have no idea. I never wanted to turn it off, to be honest. Not a clue. Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. I always found that really weird. I knew they were a West Coast company. I didn't know exactly where, but it's like, if you're a West Coast company, you'd think you'd take care of the server closest to you first, but I guess not. Blizzard does a lot of weird things that can't be explained, so I guess I shouldn't be looking into it too deeply. So in order to have the number 7, number 8 stuff at the bottom is through the config in Cobot. It just automatically is there if you run the bot map entry point. I may be misunderstanding the question there, but it's just there if you run that script. Does anyone have a problem where the bot will open a chest and consume all mana potions? Well, that's a new one. Can't say that I have. I'm trying to think of why that would happen. Is it any chest in any area, or is it just one chest in a certain area? Because it sounds like you're saying all chests, which is just very odd. Well, wait, are you using telekinesis to open the chests? Because that might be a part of it too. Also, check on your mana settings for popping mana potions, because that could be a part of it too. If it's standard, then I have no idea. Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain. Not very well. He explained it better than I did, but it's a part of the D2 botmap.dbj entry point. Just automatically there. Just use the num key to teleport to a location. It will stop along the way to open a chest and it will consume all mana pots. I have no idea what's causing that. That is very, very weird. Just got smacked with a 2-week ban. Yeah, last week I think I had a week long or maybe a 2-week long ban. I don't remember. I had one of those also. We're talking about earlier. The really long bans are kind of stupid because you can get banned for just logging in and out a bunch of times, which I've never understood why they do that. I have no idea what the point of that is. Because you're not going to get banned from just about any other game I can think of for doing that, but you can with this. Or if you switch characters too much, or play too many games, or what. It just seems kind of odd that they would choose those types of things to ban you for. You can use a mobile hotspot to bypass. That's very true. The game does run choppy when you're running really anything to do with Cobalt, because Cobalt runs at 30 frames per second. I don't know why, but I do know that every single bot I have ever seen runs at 30 frames per second. So it has something to do with how they coded the bots originally, and for whatever reason they've never changed it or enhanced it or whatever you'd like to call it. Yeah, if you got caught using a VPN and you tried to log in, it'll instantly ban you for at least a week or two. I've heard people getting banned for at least a week or two for that, sometimes longer. You know, like I said, I've heard of people going as long as 6 months, supposedly. Nice, good luck on that. Get that 20-20-10, Annie. I see. I suppose that's true, but I can't think of any game where if I log in and out like 3 or 4 times rapidly, it will ban me for like 2 or 3 weeks. Even WoW doesn't do that. I mean, even other Blizzard games don't do that. It's just this one. I think it has to do with pretty much. I think it has to do with like server strain. I imagine they're not using the best servers. Okay, I'll take that. I see. I mean, I've never really thoroughly tested it, but it feels like this is kind of overkill. I can understand if somebody connected, disconnected like 1,000 times in 1 minute or something, or in 10 minutes or an hour or whatever. That I think that'd be more reasonable. But 20 games per hour, it's a bit absurd. And it's not even 20 games per hour sometimes either. It seems like it could be less if you do certain things. Oh, I'm glad that it helped you set up the bot. It's fantastic. Always like hearing that. Sometimes unplugging your modem works. Most of the time nowadays it doesn't. Because unless you have a dynamic IP external, then it's going to just default back to what it was, and it's not going to let you in. Back in the day, they used to use dynamic IPs a lot more than they do now. A lot of companies now use static IPs so they can track you easier, keep you separated from other people, and, well, if you do anything stupid, then it's easier for them to tell the government or whoever that you've offended what you've done. That's been my experience. It really does have the weirdest temp bans of any game out there. It truly does. That's kind of what I was alluding to. I try not to make any games less than 5 minutes, although I say that while I'm playing these chaos runs, and they're not actually 5 minutes sometimes, but that's the exception. I try not to go under 5 minutes if I'm botting, especially. Yeah, getting queued is one of the first signs that you're going to get temped. You're going to get temp banned. So whenever I see a queue, when I'm botting or if I'm messing around with something, I'll just exit out completely and wait like an hour or two just to be sure. Because I've had numerous times where I'll see the queue, and then after a bit, the queue will turn into a ban at some point. Now, that's not always true, because lately the servers have just been junky anyway. But in the past, that has saved me a few temp bans, so. 1 hour on and 1 hour off, yeah, I mean, that would probably work also. I could see that working. Absolutely change your game wait time to 5 minutes. That is fantastic advice. You know, I tried less than 5 minute games, and I've had a world of troubles for doing it. So I refuse to do it. Some people say it works fine for them. I don't know why, but every single time I try it, I get temped all the way to 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or however long it is that they tempt me. I don't know it because I've heard a lot of people say exactly what you're saying. 3 minutes works fine for me, but I refuse to try it. I hate being tempted over and over and over again. It gets on my last nerve. I run 3 bots at 12-minute games. Yeah, I mean, that's smart. Because for whatever reason, it seems like the more characters you have in one game specifically working together on one IP, I think that's what's triggering it. Because it feels like if you have multiple characters on different accounts that are not in the same game, it doesn't seem to act the same way. But if you have them all in the same game, for whatever reason, I don't know why, it seems like it really does it to you. Excuse me while I light this cigar.
Not even death can save you from me.
Whoops. Ah! Dab it, bro. I don't dab. That's way after my time. I'm too old to dab. What kind of cigar? That's a great question that I have no idea. I already took it out of the packaging. Let me go and look and see what the brand is. Actually, I'm gonna have to look at my order to find this out for you because I actually have no idea. I'm not like a connoisseur or anything. I just really like cigars. I'm 30 and I still dab it. Hey, hats off to you, man. Cohibas aren't bad. Cohibas are never really cheap, though. And I'm not about to spend, a lot of money on cigars. Like I said, I'm not into that. I like them, but I don't like them that much. I buy all my stuff from cigar.com because I can get 20, I think it's like 20 cigars for around $35, $40. They have like little sprint sales that they do. That's what they call them. And if you do those, you can get 20 cigars for like 30, 35, 40 bucks if you wait, pay attention to it, which is really, really cheap. Because a cigar will run you significantly more money than that most of the time. Tabex Special? I've never had that one actually. Yeah, dude, that is a fantastic deal, and like, you would be surprised how good some of those cigars are. I like the really dark cigars, and so I'll wait till I see a pack of 20. I don't even care what the brand name is. I just try them all, and then I'll find out through by doing that over and over again. Oh, I kind of like this brand, or I kind of like that brand. Like I found out I like Rocky Patels, but I didn't know that beforehand because I wouldn't have bought those. They're expensive. But because they had a sale, I was like, oh, I'll try these and see if they're any good. And it turns out, hey, I really like these. They have really, really good flavor. And so, yeah. If you guys haven't tried it, free shipping, by the way, which is also a big deal. And I think if you spend $150 or more, which is kind of a lot, you get express shipping for free. So you get free shipping no matter what. And then you get express shipping if you spend 150 or more. No, I'm not sponsored by them. I just think that they offer a good product. Although they should sponsor me as many cigars as I've smoked. Let's see. Let me log in here real quick and see what those were that I'm smoking. Currently I'm smoking a Key West Select Presidente. For 20 of them, I paid $34.67. And they're big, too. They're not like a tiny little cigar. These are Mondo. Let's see, how big are these? These are 7.5 inch by 50. So, those are large. In cigar terms, those are long and worthwhile because you get a really long time to smoke them, so get your money's worth. Is there a program that lets you lets you inspect people. I used to have one on my D2 map pack way back in the day in 2005. I do not believe there is. If there is, I don't know about it. I don't think so. You're talking about Mousepad's map pack that actually used to let you see other people's gear, and let me tell you, it was a handy in duels because you could go into a duel knowing what gear they had and adjust your gear to compensate. It was super useful. Of course, it was cheating, so that's why it was super useful. Hey, you know what? Gas station specials, you'd be surprised. Some of those are actually pretty good too. Sometimes they'll have like a weird brand that isn't really sold nationally, and you'll end up with a good one, and then you'll never find it again. Been there, done that a few times. Robusto is a fantastic size, actually. Brian, if it does do it through Cobalt, I'd love for you to tell me how, because that'd be fantastic to know that. Because if it does do that, you know something I don't. Well, hello, Jessica. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for saying hi, and I'm glad to help yet another person set up Cobalt. That's fantastic. Glad it worked out for you. I have used it a little bit, slow roll. Not that much, but it is pretty fantastic. I'm pretty lazy. I don't really like admitting that, but it's true. A lot of times I'll just run like Sonic and let it just run for me. If I'm gonna start a new character or whatever, for the most part. Although, of course, right now we can't do anything except for sorceress. But a lot of times that's my my avenue of approach because I can level those up, and use them as bumpers. It was really cool and fun, and not only that, but it would show you things that you might not know. You might see like a set of gear that makes more sense than what you're using, and you might swap up your gear to fit their gear more likely, because that's the way to go. I had that happen to me many times when I was still learning. I was like, oh, why are they using this? And then I would go investigate and find out that, gee, their build's actually better than mine. Perhaps I should do that. We're all lazy sometimes. Lately, I have been incredibly lazy. I have no idea why, but just haven't really been feeling like doing much of anything. Try to put out a few videos every now and then, but just haven't been super duper motivated. I lost my job because of COVID, and since then I just haven't really been feeling up to doing a lot of the things that I used to do, unfortunately. Trying to get back in the swing of things now, though, and things are going to be looking up soon, I hope. All this crap has to end sooner or later, so hopefully it will and we can get back to normalcy. Try a Fire Aura Pally, it's super easy. I mean, I did an Aura Paladin, which is not exactly the same thing, but similar. Unless you're talking about for leveling. In which case, no, I haven't tried that, and that is a fantastic idea, which is probably what you were talking about. Right, 08 Valk is insane. What state do I live in? I live in Arizona. It really is. COVID just sucks all the way around. I mean, it's not fun for anybody. And it just hasn't been something that I hope we ever have to go through again, because it is just way overboard. For leveling to 25, I realize that's what you're getting at. I will have to try that, because that sounds like that would work really, really well. As odd as it may sound, I was never really one for like super duper efficiency in Diablo 2, which I know most people are. I kind of just like to slow roll the game and enjoy it. And a lot of people are just ultimate efficiency all the time. I need everything right now at my fingertips, and I was never really that way. I don't mind kind of, doing what we're doing here. This is definitely not the most effective way to do this, but I don't mind it because I find it enjoyable. Not saying that what you were saying is that way, but many people do feel that way. You ever play with HQA? I don't know who HQA is. What's your favorite dueler class? Amazon. I used to love playing the Amazon. Joker AZ. Do you live in AZ? Because I live in AZ too. Either way, I'm glad that it worked for you. And if you ever need anything else, obviously you can check the channel out and see all the different videos that I have. And please subscribe if you guys haven't already. 90-something% of people that watch my channel are not subscribed. That's crazy. It's free. Just click it. I know that's like a plug, but seriously. It's not a big deal. Fire Sork or hammered in with guided arrow on swap. Ooh, I like that. Bone Necro is my favorite class. I could see that too. Bone Necro on Classic was insane. So my little brother and I used to play Classic because he liked Classic more than he did Expansion. And that's where I actually didn't like Classic at first. And then he started playing it. I played it with him. And he's, I think, 7 years younger than I am. And we used to duel on Classic with a Necro and a Sorceress. And it was so much fun. I actually really miss those days. That would have been 2005 when we were doing that. And beyond fun. It was absolutely probably the best of times, really, let's be honest. Plus, playing with your little brother is a ton of fun, too. Stay out of those dust storms. I'm in northern Arizona, so I don't have to worry about those quite as much. But they are prevalent through the whole state. Northern Arizona is not nearly as hot as Phoenix. It's about 20 to 30 degrees cooler where I live. Some of you will probably figure out where that is based on what I said. And wow, that one chargeable got me. Anyway, Northern Arizona is nothing like what they depict on movies and anything related in the media. It's basically completely covered by ponderosa pine, and it's mountainous. There's not really that much sand to speak of. I mean, there's a few places, but it's mostly cinder pits from the volcano magma that's been ground up over billions of years. So very different from what you see people kind of represent Arizona to be. Smiter and Tesladin. Interesting. I'm playing East. And East is now working again perfectly. It wasn't earlier, so I know where you're coming from. What are your predictions for Diablo 4? I got to be honest, I lost faith in Modern Blizzard. I'm 100% with you. Diablo 4, I don't want to be pessimistic because I'm not really that pessimistic, but when it comes to Blizzard, Diablo 4 doesn't look that good to me. Sorry, it just doesn't. The things I was hoping that they would do, it really doesn't look like they're doing them. There's some changes that look very positive, but overall I'm not impressed. Maybe I'll be blown away when I get it. And I hope that that's the case. But for right now, I'm keeping my expectations low. Flagstaff and Sedona are absolutely beautiful. Completely different than what you'll see in the movies and stuff. It's not this huge desert. It's trees and mountains and hills and streams and lakes. It's beautiful. I hope Meph is the last boss in D4. If I remember right, he is the smartest of the three. I don't remember. I think you might be right. In terms of the lore, I think that's correct. It's kind of funny because in Diablo 2, he's kind of one of the easier bosses to kill based on his attacks. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not smart. I thought your videos were made by a guy on a forum, but realizing it's the other way around, I will submit. Hey, appreciate it, really do. I don't really visit too many forums, so obviously I have darkvigilante.site, but that's not, that's my own thing, so. In case you guys didn't know, Dark Vigilante, the YouTube channel, which is where I started, got banned for quote-unquote spam by Google. And so I had to create another. Well, I didn't create it. I had somebody else create this channel in response to that so that I could continue to make videos and it wouldn't be my name underneath the videos, which is why you'll hear me say things like Dark Vigilante's channel and things of that nature. It's just a clever way of getting around their nonsense. I actually appealed the ban 4 times. The first 3 times, they auto just didn't give a crap, gave me some lame excuse as to why they thought it was spam, which it clearly wasn't. And then the fourth time, after 2 years of letting it sit in a banned state, I sent it once again during COVID, and they unbanned it. Why? I have no idea. We'll probably never know. But if in case one of you guys has problems with YouTube, keep in mind what I just said. Oh, that's very likely, Christian. If you've ever watched the Dark Vigilante YouTube channel, that's me as well. So you're smarter than Mephisto and the real final boss of Blizzard? I wish. I'd love to get some of the cash that they got their hands on. And I don't need billions either. I'd be perfectly happy with $1 million or $2. I'm not that greedy. Diablo 3 wasn't a letdown. It was a massive disappointment. Diablo 3 took everything that was good about Diablo 2, threw it in the dumpster, poured a bunch of gasoline and explosives, and lit it on fire and watched it burn, and then made sure it exploded afterwards. Diablo 3 is the epitome of how you don't do a sequel. They took out dueling, and brawling is not dueling. I don't care what anybody tells me. It's not the same. They took out dueling, they took out trading, they took out everything about Diablo 2 that was fun. Diablo 2, you can have a completely original character that nobody else has with items that nobody else has. Diablo 3 is cookie cutter crap. It's actual crap. Everybody uses the same build. Everybody uses the same items. It's not fun because of that. It's like WoW. It's a lot like WoW. And I knew that that's what they were going to do, unfortunately, because WoW was so successful. So they thought, oh, well, we'll put some of these, well, not some, many of these WoW aspects into our Diablo franchise, and that'll help us sell more games. Well, guess what? It didn't. That's definitely not the way to go. Looks like they are running 24/7 runs. You know, it's funny, the cash auction house, this is going to be something many of you guys don't like. I liked it. Not because I bought stuff, but because I sold stuff. And hey, if I can sell stuff and make money on it, especially when it's literally a graphic in a video game, I'm okay with it. Not because it's moral or it's good for the game, it's just because it's good for me. And it wasn't good for the game, it's horrible for the game. Worst decision they ever made, probably. But when it was out, I did utilize it, and I did make some money off of it. No shame in saying it. It's just the way it is. Oh, absolutely. Diablo 2 is not really any different from Diablo 3 in terms of buying items. Well, it is now, obviously, but when D3 first came out, it was very similar to Diablo 2 in that sense. You could also, and correct me if I'm wrong, you could trade items directly across. There wasn't that 4-hour rule or whatever the crap they got going on now. Oh, you weren't in the game with me when this item was found? Oh, you can't use it then. That's actually, I'm going to go off on a tangent here. That's worse than World of Warcraft. Because at least with World of Warcraft, you could still sell stuff. Even if they weren't in the same dungeon as you, even if it wasn't 4 hours later, as long as it wasn't soulbound, you could still sell it. Diablo 3 went off the deep end with that. They were like, oh, you can't sell anything. If they're not in the game with you, then you can't trade with them. You just can't do it at all. It's like, what? That's terrible. And then the items that do drop are class specific. So if you find, let's say you find a Yang's bow, and you're the wizard, it's going to roll more than likely, it's going to roll intellect. Like, what? Why? Why? This is a terrible idea. Jaw Ith Bears for Enigma. Not sure what that's about, but yeah. I agree. If Diablo 4 has actual trading, and I hate to say it, actual dueling, it stands a chance. But if it doesn't have that, I just don't know where we're at. Because I don't think that it's going to attract the old Diablo 2 players. And frankly, if they remaster this game, I'll probably still be playing this game and not Diablo 4. Unless Diablo 4 just blows me away and I switch over. Or if they ruin this version of Diablo 2 and you can only play the crappy remaster, which is also a possibility, then I'll be forced to do something about that too. So we'll see. Again, I hate being pessimistic, but Blizzard has proven that they're not trustworthy. You know, don't you guys have phones for this new Diablo game? Remember that one? Hey, Joker, you're not wrong. I'll probably buy the, as I like to say, the holy shit edition of Diablo 4 because I did it with Diablo 3. Even though I knew that I probably wasn't going to like it, I still did it. Because I am a huge Diablo fan and I want them to build games that I like, which is why I supported it. I kind of regret that now, but at the time I did do that. Oh, I totally agree. Even if I'm just playing it single player, I'll still be playing as well. After all these years, I still like playing this game, and I can't really say that about a lot of other old games. There's a few, but this one just, every time I play it, I enjoy it. Literally, every single time. That's the most impressive part about Diablo 2, is that this game is 20 years old, and we still have, look at this game right now. How many people are in this game right now? 3, 4, 5, there's 6 of us in this game right now. That's pretty big. You know, people don't realize that an old game this old, to get this many people in a party in some random game, is a pretty big deal. True, most people who play this game are 30 plus years old, and that would include me. Man, Diablo 1 that was a ride. That was a ride I'd love to hop on again, that's for sure. Diablo 1 doesn't get enough credit, because Diablo 1, especially the art style and like the creepiness factor, the actual horror factor of Diablo 1, it's actually more so than Diablo 2 is by a huge extent. It was very well done. The church and the insides of all the different levels and everything, they were really cool, really neat, especially for that time. Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Tom. Unfortunately, I think you're right about that. I I think a lot of companies are in that boat, actually. I don't think it's just Blizzard. Let's see, my little brother is 7 years younger than I am, so he's 26, 27-ish, somewhere around there. I don't know. Too lazy to do the math. There you go. So yeah, I would say 20s would probably be the youngest that somebody would play this. Then again, you never know. There could be some youngins out there that do like playing. It's hard to say. We'll never really know. Are we boomers now? Yeah, we're getting there. That is for sure. Trust me, I'm feeling it some days. I went to climb over this fence that we have in our backyard one day, and I was just like, ow. I used to jump over those for fun. Now it's just trying to climb over it. I feel like I'm 95 years old. The soundtrack for Diablo 2 is fantastic. It is really, really good. Has a really good, like, atmospheric tone to it. It's fantastic. I actually bought the collector's edition specifically to get that CD. Yeah, I like CDs. I like physical media. I know. I'm a boomer. but I like physical stuff. I like actually having ownership over my property. I've heard that from a lot of people that D2 was their first PC game. Diablo 1 was one of the first PC games I ever played, but I actually played a lot of DOS games that I couldn't even begin to tell you the names of. I think Worms was one of them, Falcon 3.0, Silent Service 2, I remember that quite a bit. So we had an old 386 or 486, and that's how I played before I had Diablo 1 and 2. But we were not one of those families that was well off in the 90s either. You know, I was very much on the lower end of the money spectrum, so I kind of had to play some older stuff. Diablo 2 was like the one exception to that, where I actually got it somewhat soon. When you have to get your affairs in order before jumping a fence equals boomer. You're not wrong. I do still have the battle chest, and I have a big box version of Diablo 2, a big box version of LOD, and the collector's edition of Diablo 2. In fact, I just bought the collector's edition of Diablo 2 with my stimulus money because there was no way I was not going to take that opportunity to get that collector's edition. I had to have it. I actually didn't even know it existed until just a few years ago when I saw it on Metal Jesus Rock's channel, and I was like, what in the world is that? And why don't I have it? Yeah, if you didn't play on dial-up, you don't know what lag is, that's for sure. I played Diablo 2 on dial-up on a Pentium 2. And let me tell you, that is not a fun experience. I still have the shirt you got for pre-ordering Diablo 2. That is really cool. I'm a little bit envious of that. That is awesome. Total Annihilation is fantastic. Heroes of Might and Magic, I never really got into it. Again, my little brother, he loved that game. Especially the PS1 version for whatever reason. He liked that one. That wasn't Heroes, that was Crusaders though. But I think it's still in the same universe. But he loved that. Oh man, I forgot about the Black Wall. Holy cow. Wow, you're boomering it up, dude. You're showing your age by saying that. You know that. Man, the Black Wall. Oh. Wowie. Man, I completely forgot about that. Dude, the whole 56K, or even some people were using 28, was it 28.8s or 28.6s? It was a nightmare to download even like 2 or 3 megabytes. Absolute nightmare. You would get disconnected, things would go wrong, your phone would just randomly decide that it was going to ring instead of letting you stay connected. There was just so many, oh man, it was terrible. The Ith swords were really cool. They had Ith bows too back then. I had an Ith bow. I don't think I ever had an Ith sword though. I kind of swapped over to Amazon at that point. From my understanding, that's exactly what the Black Wall is. Or it could just be desync from you and the server. It's trying to, which is basically the same thing. It's trying to catch up, but it hasn't yet. So yeah, pretty much the same thing. Hours? It took me days. I had AOL and it was garbage. Absolute garbage. If you downloaded your patches in hours, you were lucky. Because it seemed like mine took ages. I remember like entire weeks going by where I couldn't download it. It was that bad. I wish I did have some of the original items. Unfortunately, all those accounts are gone. I actually was homeless for a little while, and I was unable to log in. So I pretty much lost everything. right around 2008. Had a rough spot, and yeah, that just unfortunately I lost all those really awesome items. Really regrettable, but there's really not a lot I could have done at the time. MF barbs are a ton of fun. I love MF barbs. Zod is one of those weird runes that you pretty much never see pop. It's not very common at all. And yet they're not really worth that much, which is kind of ironic considering it's the highest high rune. It's the hardest one to get, supposedly. Oh, sure, we've all had that experience. Do you guys remember the trade scams? Where, let's say you get a Windforce bow, and then you get a bow that looks like the same graphic, and then you make up some BS or whatever, or they do, or whoever, and they're like, oh, let me make space in my stash, lol. And they go back to their stash or whatever it is they're doing, and they pop that fake bow in, and they hit the trade accept, and they try to get you to push it before, you know, before you realize it.
Not even death can save you from me.
I'm sure people still try it. I have no doubt. That was so common. You had to be ultra careful back then. That was when the internet was new, baby. That was when the internet was the internet. Not this garbage we have now where it's all censored and everybody's afraid to say what they really truly think. People would just say the most outrageous crap to each other, and nobody cared. Literally nobody even cared. It wasn't even a big deal. Just did whatever the heck you wanted, said whatever you wanted, whatever random nonsense that you wanted to say, you just said it. That's true. Two sirs and what is it? A flawless amethyst? Make a bear, I think, or bear. I always call it bear. I think it's burr. Auto accept tax. See, now that I didn't know, but I truly believe that's real because it looked like it was doing that sometimes when I was watching people, and it definitely seemed like that could have been a possibility. See, I that's what I'm saying. It's the trade hack, the trade stealing was hilarious. Trade scamming, it was hilarious. Or here's another one for you guys that have been playing for a long time. Do you remember the Annihilus? How you couldn't trade it, so you had to drop it on the ground and do the run around the wall trick, or grab it through the wall in certain areas. That's another nasty one that they finally fixed. That was horrible. They had a hack that dropped all your gear. That was actually a very simple script that somebody wrote that basically just clicked on everything and dropped it on the ground. That one got me. I will admit that that one nabbed me. It shouldn't have because I was smarter than that, but it did get me. Rattle cage for the Tull's armor. You bet. That's a very common one. Torch is no different. Torch and Annihilus were the exact same thing. Are there any hot IPs for Declone right now? I don't know. Not a clue. Somebody in chat might know, though. That's actually a true statement. Diablo 2 helped you not get scammed in real life. It sounds crazy, but not really. There are some shifty people out there that will definitely scam you in real life. The D1 script and the D2 script were almost exactly the same. If you decompile them and look at them, I don't know if they're out there anymore, but they're almost exactly the same. It's pretty much just it just alt tabs into the program and then just initiates a series of clicks. That's all it does. It's very, very simple. That's why it worked. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm not a dev, actually, believe it or not. I'm just a random guy who wanted to help people learn how to use Colbot. So, believe it or not, I'm not associated with anybody within the Colbot team. I just try to help people. That's my only thing. But I get what you mean. You should convince more of your friends to play this game. Anytime you can bring people back to Diablo 2 is always welcome. Tell them there's cookies. teaches people teaches people you can't trust anyone would have life's best lessons. Yeah, you're not wrong. Derek, it was weird and it was broken, but US East is now fixed. I'm hearing that US West is still iffy. So East is working. I'm not sure about Europe. I haven't heard anybody say anything about that, so I'm not sure. Hey, Zach, that is awesome. That is what I love to hear. Anytime we can bring more people back into the game or enjoy the game the way they want to play it, that's exactly what I want to do. So I'm really glad to have you back, and I'm glad you brought somebody along with you. That's fantastic. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad that you made a last wish. I know a lot of people that is like the coolest thing is people that could never afford certain rune words. They use the bot, now they can. They can actually afford it. That's a really cool feeling when that happens. The servers the last like year to 2 years have been garbage. I don't know if it's a maintenance issue or if it's a we don't care issue or if they're getting DDoS. I have no idea. But yeah, they have had some significant issues and problems, that's for sure.
Not even death can save you from me.
Nobody knew what the problem with the chat bug was. They wouldn't say. All we know is that it existed. Still does, apparently, in some cases. Path of Diablo, I haven't tried it. A lot of people like it, and they've asked if I know how to get Colbot working with it. I don't think Colbot ever will work with Path of Diablo. If it does, I'd be real surprised. Bot helps me get all kinds of high runes? Exactly. Exactly. Well, that's the thing. You know, Bori, I hope I'm saying that correctly. You're not the only one that's told me that, you know, hey, I go to work 12, 15 hours a day. I don't have time to grind this game basically unlimited to find the high runes I need. That's why I use the bot. People always assume that people that are botting are doing it for nefarious reasons. You know, item selling websites and that kind of stuff. That's actually usually not the case. It's almost always semi-normal people that just need an easier way to find stuff because they don't have the time to invest in this game the way that they would need to if they wanted to find all those items. Oh, there's definitely a small group of people duping. There's a private dupe that goes around that they share. I'm sure it costs you thousands of dollars if you wanted in on it. Nice, Derek. Nice. Ooh, Burun. Very nice. That's always a good one to get. Burr and Jaw seem to be the two that you really want to find the most. Ista's fine, but Ista's just not valuable enough. Once ladder gets going, people just tend to not want them quite as much. Technically, I could go to Bale, but I don't know that I want to do that. I might swap over to the Assassin instead and level her up in Chaos. Yeah, I think that's probably what I'll do. Best spot for high runes hunting? Basically, what Muffin said is pretty much correct. Cross chests, chaos, anywhere in Act 5, basically, honestly. but obviously the throne room, good spot. There's a ton of them. Tunnels, pit, lots of places. How many bots do I run personally? This is going to surprise you guys. I don't usually bot at all. Um, because I started this channel, I do a lot of other stuff on the side rather than actually bot. Stuff like this, to do character builds and stuff like that. I don't generally bot all that much anymore. And I never did that much to begin with. When I was botting pretty heavily, I would do 4 to 8. 4 to 8 is the maximum that I would ever do. I find a ton of runes in Chaos. A ton. In fact, the majority of all the runes that I find are in Chaos. That's been my experience. I'm not trying to say that's gospel, but it's a lot. I could see Trav being a really good spot. A lot of people say Ancient Tunnels do it for them. I never really found very much stuff there, but a lot of people tell me they find a ton of high runes there, so more power to you. In the end, it's RNG, so there's not really one specific set of places that's going to be best, because it's just pure luck. Most of the time, characters in the same game are best. Especially if you can get 8 players like we have here. That's going to be the best for drops, always. But with the bot, it's risky to do that because you're asking for realm downs. So it kind of depends on what your ultimate goal is. If you want to bot safely without getting realm downed, unless you have a system in place where you know it's going to work perfectly and not give you realm downs, I would say do separate games. That's just my opinion. And my experience. Countess is good. Countess can drop Ist. Up to Ist in Hell. If you run Hell Countess, she can drop up to an Ist. And that's pretty good. Now, your chances of getting an Ist are obviously not very high. But, there you go. Let me hide this for just a second while I log into the other account. Hold on, guys. There we go. Whoops. There we go. Yes, building it like a party. If you build characters that synergize with each other, like for example, a sorceress with a necromancer, because of his curses, you're going to have a lot better luck with that than you would, say, with a Hammerden with a sorceress, because they don't really complement each other as well as the necro and the sorceress would. So tutorial on auto build. I'm not sure I follow. Is there an auto build in Cobot? I'm gonna be real with you guys. There's a lot of stuff about Cobot I don't know. So forgive me if I don't know something you're talking about. I'm not trying to be whatever. I genuinely don't know. If there isn't a clear explanation for something, I probably haven't investigated it, because for me, unless there's a clear explanation on how it works, why it does the things it does, and how do I do them successfully, I probably haven't looked into it too deeply, because that really annoys me. Sonic? If you're talking about Sonic, I have a video for that. But if it's something different than that, no, I don't have that. Okay, I gotcha. Oh, okay, I see. Very involved. Okay. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take a look at it and I'll see if I can figure it out. And if I can get a method to where it works at least somewhat efficiently, then I'll share it with you guys. But genuinely, I try not to share things that are pretty broken. I was really hesitant on Sonic even because Sonic is really, I don't want to say broken, but it's pretty close. There's a lot of issues with Sonic. That is really cool, actually. I like the idea of it. If it's efficient and it works good, and it doesn't have a lot of, crashes and whatnot, then I will look into it, like I said. I'll take a look, see if I can get it figured out, because it sounds amazing. So if it works that way, I don't mind setting that all up and sharing it. Yeah, so with Sonic, um, I made that video about set it and forget it because a lot of people always want to go in and customize it and do all these things with it, but fundamentally Sonic is broken. There's just things that you can't fix that you're not going to be able to make work correctly unless you actually go in and change the actual coding of how Sonic works. And therefore there's not really a point. Just turn it on and let it run. But from what you guys are saying, the auto build would actually maybe help fix that. And who knows, they might have made Sonic with the assistance of that. I don't know. Auto Smurf is pretty broken too. I actually got that working and I was really disappointed. The followers constantly get stuck or you get like a desync lag of some sort and then now they're like halfway across the level. You got to backtrack for them. Super annoying. Would you know how to have my bot check for TPs before it leaves town? Not sure. In what sense are you trying to look for TPs? Like, are you looking for the leader's TP, or what is it you're trying to do there? Give me a little more information. I'll try to help you. Able to summon Oak Sage, wearing a Wisp Protector ring, MFing with a Sork. I don't think you can do that. From my understanding, skills that are on items don't work. It does not cast them. That's just what I've been told. Again, have not tried it because I kind of figured it wouldn't work. But again, if somebody in chat knows how to correct me, feel free. Yeah, if you leave Sonic, it will level up for you. You just have to not baby it and want to change it and make it more efficient. Literally just when you start it, do it right before you go to bed. That way you don't have to sit there and stare at it. And just let it run. Turn your monitor off, go to sleep. 12, 15 hours later when you get back from work or when you get up 8 hours later, whatever it is that you're doing, come back and check on it. And then if it's still not where you want it, just let it go. Because in the end, you're not really losing anything by letting it go. Just let it go. So it should be checking the leads TP automatically. There isn't really anything that you should have to do to change that. It should be already doing that. As soon as the lead sends the TP, it should take it. Yeah, the charges on items I don't think work. Because I don't think that the skills that are in the skills.txt document are the skills that are related to items. I don't think they're the same thing. I don't even think they're the same numbers. They may not even be coded into Coldbot itself. That's also another thing. It may not have ever been put in there on purpose because they didn't want to use it. Also, if you were having problems with your leader, it might have been because the chat bug was causing issues there, depending on how you have your leader and follower set up. If you have it set up like I did in the video, the chat bug would have completely rendered that useless because of that. So keep that in mind. If you were experiencing issues, try it again and see if it works before you change anything, because it might be fixed now. So, oh my god, a mantled! Ah, somebody snagged it. Never been so excited for a mantled ever. Ruh-roh. I think somebody's actually using Frost Nova. Who would be using Frost Nova? That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anybody use Frost Nova. Why didn't I pick up the Roll Rune? That doesn't make any sense. Those are always useful. Oh, oh. Almost killed myself again. For sure, I always try to make my games at least 5 minutes to try to avoid that. Although, if I remember correctly, if the leecher isn't able to party with the leader, I can't remember. There's like a certain set of circumstances where it just leaves the game, which isn't going to help you. So, but yeah, if it wasn't working before, you should give it another shot.
Not even death can save you from
Justin, you're 100% spot on. That is completely accurate. Fixed for now, quotations. Blizzard might decide to break it later. Haha, Omega lol. It just, you never know what's going to happen. Was it 6-1? Did I get it wrong? No? Alright, whatever. That's alright. I'm just randomly messing around anyway, it's no biggie. He's bought in all of the realms, boys. Got a high roller. Now, I think you can bought both realms at the same time with the same CD keys, right? Because it doesn't check for different CD keys for different realms, I don't think. At least that's how it used to be. Channel OPD2 station, where all the drops are yours. That's funny how they advertise all this stuff now. They never really did that very much before. Most people are botting for themselves, obviously. I'm not sure, are these guys trying to sell stuff? Yeah, these guys are totally trying to sell stuff. Oh, you can't anymore? Ah, okay. It used to be if you had CD keys, you could run bots on all the realms at the exact same time. Like if you had one CD key set, you could bot on US East, US West, Asia, and Europe all at the same time with one CD key set. Apparently they fixed that. Yeah, the spam bots are super annoying. Super duper annoying. People always complain about the Diablo and Bale bots, but they're not even close to as annoying as the spam bots were. It's not even funny how annoying that was. Because they didn't just do like the channels or in the game, they would whisper you too. It was like, oh man, I had to run slash D&D all the time because I didn't want to be constantly harassed by the spam bots. That's the new spam bot? Well, you know what? If this is the new spam bot, I approve because this is pretty non-invasive. It doesn't bother me. I mean, having the stuff above their heads is somewhat annoying, but overall, I'd take this over the old one any day. Do these have faster run walk? I don't remember. They might. Haha, they do. Whoops. We'll hold on to it. Why not? We'll dump some into strength.
Not even death can save you from me.
What is Kite Shield? I don't remember all these low-level set items because I never, I never bothered to pick them up usually. Ah, yes. Oh, in YouTube chat? Yeah, for whatever reason, whenever you try to put in a link on YouTube chat, it doesn't allow links. I don't know if that's something I can change or what. I never really bothered to look, but yeah, for whatever reason, it's probably to cut down on spam and people linking porn and whatever else. Interesting. I think I do remember that somewhat. They changed it. You used to be able to type whatever you want in Diablo 2, but I think you're right. I think if you type in websites, it doesn't work or something like that. Yeah, there you go. That's what it was. I knew it was something like that. That was a fairly recent thing because, well, I say fairly recent, but they changed that because you used to be able to do it. That's why the spam bots were able to. D2items.net? Yeah, absolutely. That was a big deal. There was a few of them back then that were pretty big that people frequented a lot. There was one site, I don't remember what it was, but it was selling unperm '08 items for like $2, and I bought a ton of those. Because unperm or not, they were rare. They were really uncommon. Now even the unperm items are worth a ton. Yo, give me a rush from Nightmare to Hell. I'm assuming you've already leveled up a bit. Because I think you have to be, what, level 40 to do Ancients in Nightmare? Pretty sure. Also, are you on US East? Because I only have characters on US East. Yeah, no, they have specific websites. Trigger temp chatting restrictions. Pretty clever. Yeah, definitely. Specific phrases, probably, or specific websites, whatever. Yeah, I can't say I blame them. Makes sense to me. Like I said, the spam was by far the most annoying thing.
Not even death can save you from me.
To get past Nightmare, you still have to have a bumper, though. Tal's mask. Oh, for sure. I had a ton of really good stuff that was '08. Probably even perms that I just didn't know were perm. Sometimes you'd get like a weird trade or whatever. Very weird to hear Diablo while doing cows. Yeah? Instead of moo 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 moo. That that cracked me up the first time I heard those cows mooing like that. Thought that was absolutely hilarious. It was so unexpected. It's just like, wait, what? No, no, I know what you mean. That's what I'm saying. You hear, not even death can save you from me. You know, you're supposed to hear moo moo moo. Wow, that's crazy, Christian. That's insane. Doesn't surprise me though because they are insanely hard to find. RIP! Look over at chat for 1 second. 1 second.
What do you need?
I don't even know what that is, and I wouldn't type it, because I have no idea what it is. Hey, very nice. Those are always nice when you get those e-bugged armors. Sometimes I have really good luck, other times I have absolute garbage luck. I had one season where I had like, I think 1 out of like 20 tries was a 4-socket, and the rest were just 1, 2, and 3, or whatever it is that it can give you. Garbage. You hate that you love Diablo 2 because it's the best game ever made? Yeah, that's all of us. Plays all the game sounds at once. Do it for a sec, then retype it. Oh boy. Well, I'm actually not rushing anything. And I already got the Druid past 60, so I figured I'd come over here and do this. This is my preferred way of leveling up. I know that probably sounds weird from somebody who bots, but I prefer to do it this way. Yes, it's slower. Yes, it takes longer. I don't care. I still like it better. Besides, if I did everything in a hurry and got it done really quick, I couldn't have a really long stream anyway. You can't walk to chaos with Colbot anyway. No, I don't think you can, actually. Redo D2 with upgrade graphics, more levels and quests, automatic hit. Why can't Blizzard figure that out? You're not wrong, and you're not the first person to suggest that either. Mostly because people that work in big corporations live in a bubble and or don't know the game that it is that they're making. Maybe a combination of both, and they don't understand. A lot of times, they don't understand what makes the game fun in the first place. I think Diablo 3 is a huge example of that, because the Diablo 2 team was gone for Diablo 3. So Diablo 3 was basically a new group of people that didn't really understand why Diablo 2 is fun. It's not that Diablo 3 isn't fun for many people. It's just not, in my opinion, it's not really a Diablo game in a traditional kind of sense. They do not have the original files anymore. That is absolutely correct. Which is why I don't think they'll add anything to the game. You know, upscaling or improving graphics and things like that are more plausible than actually a complete, addition or rewrite of the game in any way. I don't see it. True. The D2 team does still exist. They just aren't together anymore, and they went to other projects. Isn't one of the Diablo 2 guys the guy that created Path of Exile? Pretty sure. There's a couple of D2 remasters where they used, I think Unreal Engine is one of the ones that they use. It looks fantastic. I actually, do any of you guys have 4K monitors? I know, random question. I actually use a 1440p monitor. Item system in D2 was perfect, no game has done it better. Yeah, that's pretty hard to argue. I'd say Path of Exile is really close. True. That is true.
I can't.
Ah! 1080, 144. I feel like 144 is the way to go. If you're going to get a monitor, even if it's a lower res, once you've played on it, makes such a big difference. I played Resident Evil on the PS4, and I played it in the highest resolution, which is not 4K. It's like 2 or 3K, something like that, and it looks beautiful. Don't get me wrong. And then I played it on my PC in 1440p with 144 or higher frames per second. Yeah, I don't think I could ever go back. It's such a massive difference, and it really does matter. It makes the game a lot more enjoyable, in my opinion. And I wouldn't normally say that, but unfortunately, for that situation, it was definitely true. Maybe not always, but for me, it was. Oh, 1.0 Classic is completely different. It's not even the same game. In fact, even just Classic versus LOD is not even the same game. Not even remotely close. Because you gotta remember there's no runes, no rune words, no elite weapons of any kind, or items that are elite at all. So the game relied on rares rather than uniques most of the time. I mean, you'd use a few uniques. Obviously, you can't replace a Soj. But there was a lot of times where rares were significantly better than the uniques, which is why it made it fun. I actually don't like Path of Exile. Call me crazy. I could never get into it. I don't think it's a bad game. It's just not for me. Very thankful for you guys. What are the probabilities the Cobalt will be disabled coming next reset? We have no idea. Um, I promise you all that if I find out it's been disabled or if I find out it's banning people, I will make a video immediately and I will let you know to stop botting immediately. And, if it just crashes completely, obviously, we'll know anyway. But I always try to keep you guys updated as much as I can on big stuff like that. But I don't think it's very likely. The remaster might break Diablo 2 completely. We don't know. But we don't know when that's going to be released or what they're going to do with it. So for now, I wouldn't count on any problems. Seems to be fine. Diablo 2, like 1.06 to 1.08, in my opinion, was the peak of Diablo 2. Broken items, and I do mean broken, like actually broken, horribly overpowered items, which is why they were fun, by the way. Dueling everywhere, thousands of players all the time, trading, just the whole game was more fun in general during those eras, in my opinion. But, that's rose tinted glasses and bias together, so take that as you will. Oh, definitely. I traded on BNet forums all the time. That was a long time ago.
Not even death can save you from me.
Yeah, '06, '07, and '08, even '09 was a lot of fun because there was a lot of carryover. So, yeah, tons of fun. Remember the Super Tool Brooklyn. No. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I actually have no clue what you're talking about. I know a lot of stuff, but that one is not ringing a bell. '09 is when a lot of people got rich. Very true. '09 still had white rings for a while. It's still, I think Ith was out by then. The Ith swords and bows and whatnot, I think those are out. White gloves were still around. Those were insane. Mousepad still worked. He was still developing and it was still working, which was awesome. Jeez, I don't know. I don't remember. Oh, I am not paying attention here. Really? Yeah. 1.09, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was 110, I don't know. One of those two, they just killed everything. Excuse me. BNet forum drama. BNet forum drama is still a real thing. I mean, go look at it right now. It's hilarious. People complaining about bots 24/7. They were blaming the chat bug and the server issues on bots. It's like, that's not the reason, dude. I mean, you could blame it on that if you want to, but it has nothing to do with that. There was a few of them, and um, they actually deleted a bunch of items that used to exist too. Constriction ring. I do not believe constriction ring can fall anymore. Pretty sure that's been gone for a long time. That thing was crazy. That thing was insane. If you haven't seen one of those, you should look that up. Because that is a really cool ring that doesn't exist anymore. Well, the queue was probably because of the bots. But the chat bug, I'm pretty sure, had nothing to do with bots. Maybe it did, but I find that unlikely. I'm pretty sure they tried to do something and messed it up, and that's what caused it. I'm willing to bet that's what it was. D2JSP was pretty interesting. I don't remember exactly when I signed up for it. 2000. I was pretty late to D2JSP. 2008, I think, is when I finally signed up for JSP. The healer class. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know how they'd implement it properly without it being broken, though. That's the only problem. Or just utterly useless. like the monk in Diablo 3. Healing wise, anyway. Well, it kind of works in Diablo 3, I guess. I don't think the chat gem ever did anything. I think they confirmed that it never did anything. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was just like a gimmick. 2003. Wowee. You're way ahead of me on that one. That is a super old JSP account. Project D2? I haven't checked that out. I might. I remember, I could have sworn one of the devs said that it never did anything. It was like a complete gimmick just to mess with people or something like that. 03 JSP, whoa. That you're the OG right there. That's insane. I saw somebody the other day on JSP. They were making fun of 2018 JSP registered users, and he was from like I think like 2015, and I was like, dude, you're a 2015, bud. You're not even close to being what I would consider trustworthy. If I see any account made in the last 5 years, I'm like, I don't know about that. You might be a scammer. Oh, the 32020s, the Sojas. I had like 1,000 accounts with nothing but Sojas on them back in the day. I had people that would literally just come in games and just drop Sojas all day, every day for no reason. Literally no reason. I didn't even know them. They would just come in my games and drop Sojas. I'm like, okay. Thanks, I guess. Yeah, but 2009, that's significant. Oh yeah, the crazy poison charms. Oh man. I forgot all about those. Those are pretty nuts too. What's the maximum poison charm now? 351s? I know it's not 490s or whatever. I don't think you can get those anymore. Yeah, I heard about that. Again, I wasn't there back then, but I did hear JSP was doing that. Pretty crazy. There was a lot of bots back then, though, if you think about it. There was meth bots and Diablo bots, and it wasn't so utilitarian like it is now, where it kind of did everything. It was very specialized. The dude that made D2JSP is a crook. You're not the first one to tell me that. I've heard a lot of people say, do not buy Forum Gold because the dude is just absolutely. There's no redeeming qualities about the guy. I've heard that multiple times. I don't know where that stems from. I don't know what happened or whatever because I'm not privy to that info. But yeah, I have heard that multiple times. Oh, you can totally buy form gold off of other users, or even certain websites supposedly. As long as both parties don't snitch on each other, which obviously, why would you? You're both going to get banned. You're both breaking terms of service if you get caught. No, that totally goes on. 100%. Yeah, D2JSP is very hard to learn all the ins and outs of because it's so antiquated by today's standards, especially. It would have really helped if you would have used it back in the day. Knowing which items to sell, how much to sell them for, the whole trading process, and then just finding enough stuff to actually make you some good form gold. It's tricky. So I hear you on that one for sure. Ah, okay. That sounds about right. I'm surprised they actually let you pay it back, Jessica. From what I've heard, they just ban you and they don't really care. So, pretty fascinating. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Rebellion. That was a common. I mean, it's not really a hack, it's more of a script that they used to do back in the day. It's literally nothing more than an Alt tab and a clicking, uh, like automation. That's really all it is. Very simple. Oh, that was 100% real. 100% real. Like I said, I got caught. It wasn't a naked girl though. I think mine just said like what was it? It was like d2dupe.exe or some nonsense. He renamed it to something else, but it did the same thing. Ah, okay, Jessica. Oh, that's good. I mean, not really for you, obviously, but that they at least let you come back. I don't have that pick, and I don't have the EXE that I got scammed with either, because I was so pissed off. Because at that time, I did not have a lot of good items. I think I had a Breath of the Dying that was non-eth. That's like all I had. And that's when that happened to me and they took it. It's like, really? You're going to take that? It wasn't even that good of a roll. I mean, back then it was worth way more than it is now, but still, it was heartbreaking. Oh, for sure. I mean, if it helped you pay rent, I would have done the exact same thing. You got to do whatever you got to do to pay rent. Doesn't really matter what, you know, as long as you don't end up dead or in jail, then it doesn't matter. You got to pay that rent. People will do just about anything to pay rent. Oh, the Annie scams were, there's hundreds of them. Hundreds of them. There were so many of those.
Not even death can save you from me.
See, my dad never had porno magazines, or at least none that I found. The first porno magazines we found were actually in an alley, which is really gross, where everybody threw out their trash and everything. We're like, score! So, looking back on that, that's really nasty, but at the time, it was that or nothing, so... I can tell you what you look like to this day. You know, it's funny, I believe you. The only problem is she doesn't still look like that. Yeah. You know what's funny, Jessica? They weren't actually stuck together, and they were in pretty good condition, which is probably why we took them. They weren't like wrinkled or water quotation marks damaged. Um, yeah, so they're in pretty good shape. I almost wonder if it was like somebody's mom or grandma or whatever found them and was like, "Ew, what is this? We're throwing these out." And dude lost his stuff, and he was gonna go out there and maybe grab it later, but we just happened to come along at the right time and snagged his porno mags. Those were expensive, by the way, for you youngins that, if there's any in here. Those were expensive magazines back in the day, and they weren't cheap. They were not easy to get a hold of, at least for my allowance. Oh man, I don't think that that's something that a generation after will ever really experience. Um, don't think that's ever going to happen again. It's very unique, to those older generations, because now you just turn on the prawn hub and start searching away. There's no effort involved. You still have them in a safe at your parents' house. Wowie. Well, I did not keep mine. I don't recall what happened to them, nor do I care to. Can you imagine trying to load freaking porn on your 56K modem? It'd take like 3 days for the image to fill up the screen. By then, everybody and their dog walked by in your house and was like, "What in the world? Oh, I know you're not looking at porn." Yeah, you would get busted. There's no way you could get away with that. Unless you had a computer in your own room with your own phone line. I mean, you must have been rolling in dough if that's the case, but I certainly did not have that. Dial up. Yeah, there's many things I'm nostalgic for. That is not one of them. Firefox didn't exist back then, I'm pretty sure. I'm almost sure that Firefox didn't exist in the 90s. If it did, I didn't know about it. I don't even know if those old computers could handle multiple tabs. Probably not. I mean, I'm using like 10 gigs worth of RAM right now because I have so many tabs open. Of course, that's Chrome, not Firefox. That's fair. Excuse me, that's fair, Christian. Wow, I can actually hear you. I would hope so. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but I'm glad you can hear me. Yo, what's up, Rob? Yeah, I remember Firefox in like 2004, 2005. A buddy of mine came over and was like, "Internet Explorer, what are you, a freaking noob? You need to get on this new stuff, this Firefox." Oh yeah, cool name, cool browser, has multiple tabs. It's way better. I remember that. No, Google didn't exist back in the 90s. That wasn't a thing. If they did, it wasn't as big as it is now. Those videos are really old, most of those, Nicholas. And I've thought about boosting the audio and re-uploading them, but I haven't actually done it. I had an older mic that was not particularly good, so I apologize for that. I did use Netscape. I'm trying to remember what... My mom had like Juno and something else. What was that other thing? There was another internet service provider too that was like super expensive. You had to pay for it by the minute. It was insanely... I racked up so much. My buddy had an account with this other company besides AOL, and I must have racked up like a $5,000 bill because I was playing Diablo II on it. He was pissed because his mom beat the crap out of him. And it was my fault because I was logged into his account. I would definitely trust Firefox more than Google. Google is not trustworthy at all. But then again, honestly, I don't even know what you can trust anymore. You'd have to do like some weird, browser that isn't normal to truly be safe. And even then, there's really no way for you to know. If you have a smartphone, it records everything you say anyway. So, yeah, in the end, if you have any modern electronics, you're probably screwed. Would I consider playing Diablo 2 hardcore with viewers? We had somebody earlier that was trying to convince me to do it, but with the lag and the desync, I'm just not a fan. In a week or two, I did say I would try it. We'll see. We shall see. I do use DuckDuckGo already, actually. That is a good one. But I mean, how long is it before they start selling your information just like everybody else? It's got like a limited lifespan type of deal. Brave. Interesting. I'll be real with you guys. I just don't like switching browsers and messing around with all that stuff. They want to see what I'm doing. Whatever. I realize a lot of people don't feel that way, but I just don't really care all that much. Chrome is, from my testing, the fastest browser that I've tried. But it eats up RAM like nobody's business. I mean, it will actually just destroy your RAM. I had a computer probably about 10 years ago. No, it was less than that. Probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And I could not use Chrome while trying to run the latest games because it refused to work because there was too much RAM being used by Chrome. Oh, alright, I did that. It's the government, and Google sells analytics to who knows who. I'm sure foreign governments and private companies alike. I'm sure they do both. Whatever they can make money on. Facebook is no better. Basically, all the big tech firms are guilty of doing that kind of crap. Oh, they can track you. They got cameras, and get ready, boys. You better put that tinfoil hat on. They got satellites they're watching. No, I'm just kidding. They probably do, actually, but, that's beside the point. Boys and gals, I should say. It's funny because it's hilarious because back in the 90s they were telling people they were going to do that. I know a lot of you guys are old, so you know what I'm talking about. They used to actually warn us that that the government, quote unquote, was actually going to spy on us and record everything we say and record everything we do. And they actually are doing exactly what those people were saying they were going to do. Those people were not lying. They were ahead of their time and they knew what was coming. And it's crazy how accurate they actually were.
Not even death can save you from me.
Playboy wasn't even that bad. Like, looking back on Playboy, it's kind of tame. I don't even think they showed full nudity. I think it was just breasts only, right? I mean, that is, like, super tame by today's standards. I mean, the crazy nonsense people are into now is, like, super duper nuanced. Versus, look at, she's got mammary glands. Big difference. You know what I mean? Just a huge difference. Wasn't Hustler the one with full nudity? I can't remember. It's been too long. Oh, many times, Christian. Also, your internet searches will do it to you, too. You get, like, an ad for, like, a headset you were looking for or something, you're just like, That's super creepy. Internet was mostly for kids or college students? Oh, it definitely was. Or just people who, frankly just wanted to be weird. Because the internet was full of weird people that just said the weirdest crap. And linked to, like, the weirdest websites and would tell you, like, the weirdest stories or whatever. It's just nonsensical stuff that a lot of times didn't mean anything. But because they could do it, they did it. Hashtag capitalism. Eh, you know, there's not really anything better in my opinion. I won't get too deep into that, but that's my feeling on it. Sure, there's other philosophies. I'm not saying that they're not good, but that's my way of seeing it. Oh, totally. For the longest time, I didn't even have a smartphone. I'm trying to remember when I got my first smartphone. Jeez, it was a lot later than most people. I think the iPhone 3GS, maybe, was my first smartphone. After this run, I'm going to go AFK for a bit to grab some more ice, get some more water. I'm burning to death in this room. A really hot day today for some reason, like way above normal. I'm hoping we get some monsoons tomorrow. They used to have all those funny like nicknames for vagina. They used to have like vajayjay and what was the other one they used to always say? There's another one. Something you would see on Scrubs or something. It's hilarious. Oh yeah, 75%. Wait, 75 or 78? Such a weird number, 78. Okay, sure. No AC. I live at a high altitude, so I generally don't need AC very much. Just open up the windows, turn the fan on, you're usually good to go. But today it was like 91, 92 degrees, so super duper hot, which is way above normal. So, the phone, Well, my head wasn't in the gutter, and you can't prove it. So, moving along. I was gonna say, why would you leave a lum rune? Gotta snag those lum runes. I was playing Classic WoW, but then all my friends quit on me. I was like, okay. I think I'm level 51 or 52, and they just bailed on me. I'm like, dude, the heck. I really like Classic WoW, or Vanilla WoW, or whatever it is that we're calling it. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Not even death can save you from me.
If you do figure out where I am, it's not really that big deal. If you know what state I'm in, then you'll understand why. South Florida here, always hot, and I love it. See, I hate the heat because I lived down in Phoenix, Arizona for 25 years, and it was absolutely disgustingly hot all the time. In the wintertime, it could easily get up to like 70 or 80 degrees sometimes. Like, what? No, do not want. So I ran away from there as quickly as possible. When I was financially able to, of course. Gonna send you a Google Maps screenshot? Go for it. We just downed Cthulhu tonight. Bruh. That's awesome. It's hotter there, but they don't have as much humidity, except for when the monsoons are around, and then it's around 70 to 100% humidity with around 105 to 115 degree heat, which is unbearable. Unbearable. See, a lot of people do too. A lot of people live north or somewhere where it's colder, and then they move, to somewhere that's like Florida or Arizona when they retire, or even just to get out of the cold. And hey, I understand. I just don't agree. Because I lived in the heat and I hated it. I'll never go back. I'd rather shovel snow. Alright, I'm back. Thought I was going to get some water, but grabbed a soda instead. Sue me. Let's see if this is still going. Texas! I thought about going to Texas a few times and living there. The humidity is the thing that's the worst, I think. The heat you can kind of mitigate a little bit, but the humidity is pretty much unbearable. I think I'm going to need a new Chaos game. I don't know what's going on here. Summertime is not my favorite time. I prefer fall. I really like, just like right around Halloween, it's beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. That's my favorite time of year. Not too cold. Definitely not hot. Fantastic. Usually no snow. Level 42. I'll probably go till 60 and then I will call it there. We're sitting at like 2 hours and 45 minutes or so on the stream, so not a really super short one. So we'll probably be well above 3 by the time this gets to 60, before she gets to 60, so. And if you guys like this, I can do this more often. It's semi-new. It's not new. Geez, I can't even remember when it reset. It wasn't that long ago when it reset. And naturally, right as it reset, I had a realm down, so I wasn't able to play right when it reset. So it's weird that that CD key gets me banned. I have no idea what the deal is with that. Because normally if a CD key is bad, it just doesn't let you log in. It says it's just disabled. But not that one. You try logging in with that one, and you just get instantly temp banned. Very odd. It's a dragon shield. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna take it from him. Yoink.
Greetings.
2 to traps. Oh, okay. Tiamat's Rebuke. How do you get your keys? Nicholas, I have a huge list of keys that I've had quite literally forever, and I basically just use those. I did buy a couple off of d2mule.com. I don't know if they're still doing it. Last I saw, they were only like $1 cheaper than battle.net anyway, so I wouldn't recommend them anymore. I have no idea where you'd get keys now. Reliable keys, anyway. It's possible they might have got that CD key. I mean, I don't care, but it's just weird that instead of it getting disabled, it temp bans. It's just, I find that very odd. I wouldn't even mind if someone took it. It's not even that big a deal. It's just a matter of if I knew that, you know. What's up, that guy? How you doing, man? Seen you comment a few times on some videos. How you doing? Last couple I got was just from VNet. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think it's $20 for both Classic and LOD. Which, you know, that's not exactly cheap, but it's affordable. Especially if you only need, what, 3 or 4 sets. D2 Mules keys were completely used. 100% they were used. They were selling, I'm pretty sure they had a list also that they were selling off of. What's cracking? Not much. Just manually leveling some characters and talking to you all. Smoking a cigar. Yeah, I don't know that I would trust any other sites at this point either. Especially considering you can't even use most of the 16-digit keys anymore. If they've been redeemed, they're complete junk. So it's not even worth it. I'm glad you're playing this game, Rox. You are 100% correct. I actually play quite a bit more than I bought these days. I actually enjoy the game. You know, most people would assume that because I bought, I must not care for it, and I just bought non-stop, but that is not the case.
Not even death can save you from me.
Oh, jeez. That is a huge bummer. Just losing everything just feels bad. All that time and effort and work that you put into it, and then poof. And it's hard to keep up on all your accounts. If you have, hundreds or thousands of accounts, it's rough to keep them all up to date. Okay. I don't know why that bot didn't pick up that small charm, but yoink. I think anybody who's played this game long enough knows that feeling. I think most people who've ever played are definitely going to have experienced that before. It's a pain to keep them up too, because if you think about it, you can only do 20 games per hour. So if you have 30 accounts with 8 players on each account, you can only do 20 at a time. So it's going to take you a long period of time to re-up all those characters. Now, if you're just trying to save the account and you don't necessarily care about the characters, then that's a different story.
Not even death can save you from me.
Oh my goodness, cat. In and out, all the time. Sorry about that. Let the cat out again. Yeah, for sure. I try to keep it down to around 8 to 10 characters because anything more than that just really annoys me to have to keep up. I usually, like, after I make a build video or something with an account, I'll literally just walk in, like, join a game and give it to some random guy. Like, here's the account info, here's the password, have fun, bye. I just don't feel like dealing with it, you know, and I'll probably never use it, so why not give it to somebody? Usually I'll go into like a normal game with a guy who looks like he's struggling and give him that account. Oh yeah, anybody who plays Diablo 2 has been a hoarder. 100%. How can you not be? Natalia's home. I think he was trying to give it to me. I wasn't really paying attention. Gracias anyway. Gracias anyway. Well, I had a lot of accounts because I had a lot of muled items. They weren't characters that I played. They were high runes and jewels and low runes and, you know, just anything and everything that I might need to do whatever it was that I was doing at the time. And it adds up very fast. So if I was just playing the characters that I wanted to with the builds that I wanted to, then yeah, for sure. Oh, it totally does get excessive. And you can go complete OCD on it with organization and, well, this character only carries L runes. And this character only carries Zod runes. I mean, you can get crazy with it if you really want to. You should, and it's a lot more enjoyable when you don't have to run through all those all the time. I think that's a good policy too. Just sell it on JSP, get rid of it. That guy, actually, from your comments, I totally agree with you. Like I was telling them earlier before you were here, I think, I used to play Classic with my little brother all the time, and I love Classic. I dueled all the dueling in Classic is completely different from LOD, and it is a ton of fun. And I genuinely wish there was more people playing it too, because it's worth it. It's a ton of fun, but that's just not to be. You know, we're just never going to see anybody playing it again like we used to. Oh yeah, Classic Diablo 2 is a ton of fun. If you have people to play Classic Diablo 2 with, it's a ton of fun. There, I clarified, because let's be real, it's not very much fun by yourself. But if you do, tons of fun. Oh, that's fair enough. See, I used to collect all the essences too, and sort them and have different characters for each essence, like I said before. I just don't really care that much. Tokens are cheap, and if I'm going to get the essences and keep them, I just set the bot to get them and turn them into tokens for me at this point, because it just some of the items in this game just take up so much room. Even if it only takes up one slot, you might find a million of those stupid essences, and then you got to transfer them back and forth, and just wow, you could sink thousands of hours into this game just organizing items. That guy in early 2000, this would have been early 2005. We used to use a program called Redvex. I don't know if it's still around. And in Classic, you could actually, if you had expansion installed, you could glitch the game if you typed in a certain code. And you could go to Act 5 and get a socket quest. And you could socket all of your unique items. So I used to have Silks of Victor socketed, Worm Skull socketed, and a bunch of other crazy stuff socketed. Those were the days. Okay. Man, Methbot, I remember that. I never used the D2JSP bot, like I said, but I do remember Methbot. That one is definitely one of the ones I used heavily. It's like when people tell you they were a 90s kid, but they were born in 1999. You're not a 90s kid. You're a 2000s kid, sorry to tell you.
Death can save you from me.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I was born in '86, and I consider myself a '90s kid. Because the thing is, my memories are from the '90s. I don't remember the '80s. I was born in '86. By the time the '80s was around, I was 3 years old. I don't remember when I was 3. I don't have any memories from that time. My first memories are when I was about 5 years old. That's the '90s. So I never understood that. Well, I was born in '89, so I'm an '80s kid. No, you're not. You're a '90s kid. That's not. That's a weird thing. It's a weird thing that people do. I mean, I suppose if you remember that era, then you could maybe say that, but I don't think you remember much when you're, 1, 2. Some people say they can remember when they were 3 or 4, but I don't know. Christmas was the best in the '90s. You're not wrong about that. I will never forget my Super Nintendo. It wasn't like a surprise. We just went to Blockbuster and bought it. Brand new. They had them all stacked up in like one of these little dump bin things they had. And I just remember being so excited. I could not wait. And my parents, they weren't going to let me play it before Christmas, but gosh, I so wanted to play that before Christmas. Why aren't people picking up that helmet? Okay, there we go.
Not even death can save you from me.
Blockbuster was a big deal. We didn't have, well, we had like mom and pop Blockbuster type of rental stores, but my parents never went there. They always went to Blockbuster. And I used to rent one game every time we went, and they would rent movies. So it was perfect because they would rent movies they would let me watch, which was cool. Then I could rent a game that I could play after I got done watching the movies. That's a win-win situation. That's amazing. Double Dragon. Ooh. I remember that game. NES I didn't really play very much, but Super Nintendo was more my jam. I have a bunch of NES games now. Now that I'm older and I can collect things, I have a bunch of them. But I didn't have an NES as a kid. I could have got one instead of a Super Nintendo, but I figured, especially back then, we don't understand things the way we do now. I just figured, well, Super Nintendo's newer, it's going to be better. I mean, it is, but that's not the point. Still a good system, had a ton of good games on it. Rented the whole console for like a week. A lot of people did that. And the reason we never rented consoles is because they used to want a huge deposit for renting consoles. I remember they wanted like $200 or some craziness to rent one. And we just didn't have the money for it, so we never rented one. See, that's kind of funny. I think a lot of parents in the '80s and '90s did think video games were a bad influence. But my parents were never like that. I had really weird parents. My parents were very into video games. I remember when we hooked up the Super Nintendo, which would have been their first console they ever played. they started playing Mario World. They would not let me play because they were too busy playing. They weren't going to let me play because I'm the little kid and they're the parents. It was hilarious looking back on it. They were just like, oh, this is actually fun. We're going to sit here and play this. I know most people have parents that were like, oh, those are bad influence. You shouldn't play that. Not my parents. To this day, my mom can still fly through any level that she can get a cape and start to fly. She could fly across the whole level in Super Mario World all these years later, which is hilarious. Yeah, I think a lot of people were for that era. Boomers were not technologically driven for the most part, but my parents are really weird. Still are. My mom doesn't play games. She'll play Super Mario World with you. That's about it. Donkey Kong Country, she'd probably play that. But oh, I almost snagged it. Other than that, there's well, that's not sure. Tomb Raider she'd probably play the original PS1 Tomb Raider. But there's just like a very short list of games she would play. But my dad, he still plays. I mean, he's out there playing PlanetSide 2 right now. He still likes playing video games. He always has. So he liked a lot of the flight simulators and whatnot. Yeah. I may actually play a bit of Classic. I'm not sure if I'll be playing it on stream or not. That guy, I might. But I do have a Classic account I'm working on. Just got an iPhone, can't figure it out. Now, my dad wouldn't be able to figure out an iPhone. He would not understand that at all. In fact, he hates cell phones just in general. But he loves computers. Figure that one out. I have no idea how that works out. But whatever. My grandma burned Tetris into the TV. That is awesome. Your grandma is awesome. Tetris rocks. Oh, rip. Tetris is a really fun game. That is one of the PS4 VR games that I bought was Tetris Worlds, I think it's called. It's Tetris, but in VR. And a lot of people are like, oh, this game sucks. It's boring. You just play Tetris in VR. Yeah. That's why I like it. PS1 Tomb Raider? Yeah, I still have it too. I actually just bought it on Saturn a few years back too. I never played the Saturn version. Tomb Raider was a puzzle game. You know, it's not your typical shoot 'em up game. I mean, there are sections where you're going to have to shoot some stuff up, but it's mostly a puzzle solving game. It's a thinker game. You know, how do I get into this door? How do I climb up to that ledge up there when there's not a direct route to it? Things of that type of nature. It makes sense why she would like it. I mean, Diablo 2 compared to, you know, puzzle games is a lot different. You know, very, very different. I mean, I can play this anytime, any place without really having to spend much brain power to do so, you know what I mean? Whereas Tomb Raider, I have to actually sit there and think about where I'm going, what I'm doing. Crash Bandicoot was fantastic. Oh, if she liked Diablo 2, I would marry her again. Oh, that's fair. That is fair. Crash Bandicoot was a fun game too. Man, if that was it 4-socketed, I think, to make Faith? 5-socketed phase blade's actually somewhat useful, but I don't need one. I have a couple more. Ah! Scared the crap out of me. Yep, that hurts. Here we go. uh, yeah, Crash Bandicoot. Didn't they remaster that recently? I haven't bought it yet, but I believe they have a remaster of that. Heard it's pretty good too. Yeah, we only have one of those. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's for like every platform too. Um, PC, PS4, Xbox. I think even the Nintendo Switch has it. Yeah, I heard it was pretty good, that guy. I don't know if you've played it or not, but the reviews and the people that I saw online that had played it said it was pretty good. Of course, I don't know how reliable that is, but usually if it gets a pretty good score with a lot of people saying it's pretty good, it usually is. Unless it's an EA game and then, you know, throw it in the dumpster, light it on fire. Gosh, EA used to be like a pretty good company too. I mean, they were never fantastic, but they weren't as trashy as they are now. Hey guys, it's Madden 2021. It's the same game you bought the last 15 years. Here to make you spend a ton of money once again. I never understood that. I never understood why people bought all the sports games. It's fun, but it's hard. That's what she said. That's what you hope she says. Because the alternative to it's fun is not good. And it's soft, also not good. Your mule log. That's interesting. Why? I'm trying to think of why that would do that. What script are you running? Because that's very odd. You saw your game on the game list? I seen it. So the mule is actually working the way it's supposed to. I'm assuming you're using auto mule? And then the auto mule is not logging the items correctly, or am I missing something? Okay. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. It's very, very weird. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I'm not really sure what would do that.
death can save you from me.
I find that logging items with the numpad um, is actually a little easier. That's how I do it a lot of times. There's a page with all the hotkeys on it. Darn. I linked it once before, but well, I don't remember the hotkey off the top of my head either because I haven't done it in a while. Hold on. Let's search it up. I know there's a hotkey document somewhere. Here we go. Let's see. What is it? I think it is 6. I think you were right. Numpad 6 should do it. According to the hotkey, I'm going to link it in chat here in a second. Very useful little document to have bookmarked. Oops. Okay, that's not at all what I wanted. You ever have like a million windows open and you can't find the one that you want? That's what's happening to me right now. There we go. I will need ancients on this character and the druid, but I'm probably just going to call it a night when I get to 60, so don't worry about it. I do appreciate that, though. I'll probably just do it on my sorceress. I'll have her kill Hell Ancients. I still have the Aura Sorceress from the build video, so luckily I didn't just give her away to somebody. Otherwise, it would have been a lot more difficult to get Ancients done. Sometimes pubs will do it for you. Ancients are no joke. They're rough. They play rough. Oh yeah, you bet. I've linked it somewhere before, but I don't know where. That dude literally just hit me through the wall. That was fantastic. That little tiny corner he somehow hit me. That is awesome.
Hail to you, champion.
Get wrecked, bro. The level up sound is one of the best sounds. Makes you feel so good. Servers are back up, yes. At least US East and US West. I can't confirm the other ones, but I'm assuming all of them are. The chat bug has been fixed even. We're pros at what? We can chat again? Yeah, you don't see it up there? La 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 la. That's not la la la. You didn't see that. But yes, it's working. Pros of following bots. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Oh, West is. Oh, that's right. West, the chat bug is still not fixed, but the server is up though. Poor West. They get the short end of the stick every single time. Didn't even get to use my experience train very much. Sad face. That's no fun. Everybody hates that. Why am I not following my own bots? I don't have any bots running, believe it or not. I don't even have one set up to be botting. I could, but I don't have the proper gear for it, to be honest with you. This is on ladder, and frankly, I just didn't get the gear to do it. Like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you were here, I just don't bot very much. I actually play the game more than I bot. Again, I'm sure that's surprising to some, but it is actually true. I use this entry point, or this entry script all the time. just the map script and kind of just play manually. And he's stuck on a wall. That's interesting. He's using an Act 1 mercenary. It's pretty unusual. Wowie. Trying to nab him with that holy bolt, but it's not working. Alright. Level 60, finally. Took forever. That's alright, though. Melee only dueling scene. That sounds interesting. I never really saw that. Was that like privately ran by like you and a bunch of other people, or because in pubs they never did that. In pubs they would just wreck you with whatever BM crap they had going on. Some of these seal messages are hilarious. That's pretty cool. Excuse me, that's pretty cool. I'm having trouble setting up skill to have bot kill all variants of the ghost. On the way the bosses like Countess script. Any tips? Not a clue. I've never used it. I may appear to be the ultimate knowledge on Cobot, but that is far from the truth. The subjects that I discuss in my videos are the only things that I claim to be an expert on. There's quite a few things I just frankly don't know. Nicholas, pick it for jewels. Are you wanting all jewels unID'd or magical, rare? Because if it's just jewels, that's going to be pretty easy. But if you want it to be each one, I think you have to add another line or two in there.
death can save you from me.
I believe that. Wind Force. When that first came out, that Wind Force, when expansion was brand new, those were selling for like $1,000. Like, no joke. They were insanely expensive. Mav's armor. You don't see that too often. Alright, guys, I think I'm going to call it there. We're at like 3 hours and 30-ish minutes. I think that's a pretty good stream. If you guys like this, you want to see some more streams of me just like messing around or doing builds or whatever, of course, you should let me know. And for now, we'll catch you guys later. Stay safe and don't stop playing Diablo 2. Have a good night or morning.